Hello everybody and welcome to Absurd Hypotheticals, the show where we overthink dumb questions so you don't have to. I'm your host Marcus Lehner and I'm joined here today by Chris Yee and Ben Storms. Say hi guys.
Hey, I'm Chris Yee.
Hey, I'm Ben Storms.
So I was going to talk about stuff that happened to me this week, but I have a much more pressing concern right now.
What is that?
My girlfriend Sarah is out, so I had to fend for myself for dinner.
Always scary.
Yeah, I went in the fridge, had some leftovers. Wasn't enough leftovers. It was kind of like the leftovers that you eat while you're waiting for other stuff to get done. So the other food I found in my house that I could eat for dinner easily was Totino's pizza rolls, which I was like, oh man, this is going to be a treat for my body because I haven't had these in a while. And it's like that treat as a kid where you're like, I get to eat pizza rolls for lunch. This is fucking great.
Yeah,
like, this is a good lunch.
I haven't had those in a long time, but they're, in my mind, I think they're really good.
Exactly.
This is the only time that a Totino's pizza roll, or multiple of them, has been described as a treat for your body. Normally it's like a mild punishment that's, I guess, good for like your animal brain, but that's about it.
Yeah, see, well, that's kind of where I'm at now because I put like, I'm like an adult, so I'm like, I need an adult portion, so I put like half the bag in the fucking toaster oven.
First mistake.
Well, it's how much I needed to get full, except I put 3 too many in, is the apparent number. I probably put like 5 too many in and then 8 too many. So right now my body does not feel super good about my decisions. And I'm just like staring at these 3 pizza rolls like, this is my first time I've had trouble eating these. Like my 14-year-old self would be like, I would eat these and more please. And it's almost like a depressing metaphor for growing up because it's just, this was like the epitome of a great lunch. And now I eat it and I'm like, this didn't taste that great and my body feels really bad about it.
You should take that as a good thing. It means you're maturing as a person.
That's true.
Well, obviously, it just points out one of the bad parts about maturing, which is you can't enjoy pizza rolls as much.
Out of curiosity, how many times did you burn your tongue? Well,
due to the fact I was doing other stuff and kind of like forgot them after the toaster went off, then they were like warm, like slightly above room temperature, like maybe like 85 degrees by the time I actually got around to eating them, which may also have contributed to my tummy not being friendly with me today.
Right, that's reasonable. But at least you did eat them in a more mature way than they generally are eaten, which is straight out of the toaster oven and directly, scalding the inside of your mouth. So that's cool.
That happens to me with normal pizza too. Like literally every time I eat pizza, I burn the top of my mouth.
Pizza's a trap. A delicious trap, but it is a trap.
Yeah. It's a trap I do not mind falling into continuously, like 2 or 3 times a week. But no, I am fancy. I have them like on a real plate.
That seems wrong.
I did actually look. I did actually look for a paper plate because I'm like, okay, I'm not putting effort in. I'm like not even gonna do like one dish for dishes, and then I couldn't find one, and so I had to get a plate. So
you're just leaving 3 there? I mean, they're pretty tiny, aren't they? You can just easily pop it in your mouth.
You say that, Chris, but I can tell you right now, my body is at like out of 10, like maybe like a 1.5 discomfort level, and I think each one that I eat from now will double that. So this first one I'm gonna eat, I'm gonna be like up to 3, where I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna be trying to talk, I'm gonna be like,
and yeah. By the third one, you'll be up to a 12, which is pretty bad on a scale that goes up to 10.
So over this next hour-long podcast, are you gonna try to finish all 3 of them?
If I do eat a pizza roll, I will make an announcement on the podcast.
I appreciate that.
I'm looking forward to that.
I think it's important information for our listeners.
Yeah, if I get facts wrong, you guys can punish me by telling me to eat a pizza roll. Wait, I definitely get more than 3 facts wrong. That's a terrible idea.
Yeah, you will have eaten those in the next 6 minutes.
All right, let's get into our questions for this week. Question number 1. What if each day a random part was swapped with an animal's?
Body part of your own, since I don't think you made that perfectly clear with the way you said that. A random body part of yours is swapped with an animal's. It's all right, Marcus. I know you're distracted by this pizza roll situation, so I will.
That's the pizza roll number 1.
I will let it slide.
The word body on my notes turned into a pizza roll for a second and just faded away.
Much like your own body has turned into a pizza roll. So this was actually our first viewer submitted question.
Yay!
From Seamus Slater.
Thanks, Seamus.
Thank you for not only listening but also contributing. This is sort of the way we went about this. We said that it was going to happen at noon every day. And in order to make it more random, basically the 3 of us each made 3 lists of 7. So one list was 7 body parts, one list was 7 animals, and one list was 7 daily tasks that you would have to complete. and then we just randomly assigned each person. I think we all kept our own body parts, right? Yeah. We kept our own body parts and then got from one of the other ones a list of tasks and a list of animals. And then those kind of mapped to each other, and we had to pick a couple of them to figure out how that would affect us and how we would get around our limitations or boons from our new animal parts.
I don't know. Did you get boons? I didn't get boons.
I kind of got a boon on one situation, maybe.
So there's some level of luck and some level of choice, but
right.
we want to work in the random part. So.
Yeah, because we thought that having to sort of think on your feet about it, despite us playing this out days in advance, just ignore that part, was kind of part of the fun. So, so I'll sort of go through my first two situations that I was given. So my first one is a first date with your high school crush, and your eyes are replaced with blue crab eyes. So blue crab. Yeah, blue crab eyes are great because they're these little tiny, just like black beady eyes that are on like stalks that like stick out a little bit, and then when the crab gets threatened, they like recede back into its body, which is really, really not great for a date situation, as you might imagine, for many reasons, both for yourself and for your date. So on the bright side, blue crabs do have vision that is, and I quote here, relatively acute for an arthropod, but that still sounds really, like a hedge. Really bad. It is not good vision. Apparently blue crabs make up for this by having actually a pretty excellent sense of smell, but you only got the eyes, so you're kind of out of luck on that one.
Well, I mean, you're not the prettiest, so maybe your high school crush also isn't the prettiest, but you can't tell anymore?
Well, so sort of what I realized is that my initial reaction to this is that you see yourself, you're at this restaurant and you're in like a nice blazer and you look good. You're facing away from the door and your date walks in, you're like, oh, this is good, this is going well. Comes around, sees the eyes sticking up, she screams, your eyes pop back in, she screams more, she runs out, things just go bad. So what we really want to try to do is avoid that situation. That's kind of what I've realized is that no matter your intentions on this date, if you get my drift, you're going to have to reveal this at some point and explain it to her.
Right.
What's going on?
Yeah, it might come up.
It's gonna come up. So
we have from until noon to figure this out.
Right. Well, so my goal was basically to avoid that panicked reaction as much as possible, so you get a chance to explain before she runs screaming from the restaurant. So the first thing, I really hope that this is a lunch date. Which I know you might be thinking that gives you less time to repair. But if it's a lunch date, if you get a table outside, you can wear sunglasses and just keep those stalks down low. And I think you can at least get like a word in before she notices.
Excuse me. Before we get started, I do have to say something. She's like, "Oh, you're gay." It's like, no,
not that. Maybe worse.
Yeah, maybe worse.
But yeah, so I think that's sort of your game plan here, and I think honestly, it's kind of in some ways nice because either your date is over very quickly and you knew, if she wasn't going to accept this, which in all honesty is not as bad as things could be.
Ben, I think that's way up there in the things I wouldn't date territory. Like, there's a lot of people I would date that I would not date if they had crab eyes.
Well, no, but like, if you think about some of the other possibilities, just the crab eyes is not that bad.
Oh, compared to the animal parts you're talking.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, this happens every day at noon, so you're definitely going to get something worse than crab eyes.
Yeah. So I think that's sort of your plan there is just hope to God it's a lunch date, sit outside, wear some sunglasses, explain things, hope things go well. If it's a dinner date, oh man, I guess it could be the guy who like wears sunglasses inside or whatever, but I think that's really your only hope. And also just go ahead.
Can I propose an alternate plan?
Of course.
So she walks in. You've managed to talk to the waiter. You do the sunglasses trick on the waiter because you don't care about what he thinks of you afterwards, and he's going to be a little more lenient because he wants the tip still.
That's right. Yeah.
And so she walks in, gets stopped by the waiter, and the waiter's like, "Miss, your date has requested that this be a true blind date. He wants it to be all about the personality." and he blindfolds her.
And you're already basically blind because you have crab eyes, so this works out
Well,
great.
you can put on a blindfold, but your eyes are just going to be above it anyway.
That's true. You make a very compelling argument.
So you go through this date, and then you, like, when it comes time to, like, get the check, you just, like, be like, oh, I gotta go to the bathroom. And you leave the money for the check, but you disappear, which is not a great look for you. But it's a better look than crab eyes.
But you're gonna have to break the news at some point.
No, you don't. You're gonna lose them the next day.
Well, but you're gonna have to explain something else at that point.
Look, you pick very selective days for dates.
Yeah, you only see her on good days.
It's like, oh, I got the walrus penis today. I'm gonna go call up my girlfriend.
All right, advancing to my next situation, and with that,
what if you had a walrus penis?
my next situation was hosting a Thanksgiving dinner. We said like 20 guests with a Marmoset right arm. So marmosets, in case you aren't aware, are very adorable, small, furry monkeys, basically. They're very cute. It's great. And at first glance, this is not that bad, because it's a monkey, it's a primate.
Similar to a normal human arm.
You know, like, it's going to be a little weird, because it's a monkey arm, but, like, they're primates. It can't be that different, right? Well, so there's a few issues I've noticed. One, they are furry, so your arm is covered in fur, and you're cooking with it, which isn't ideal.
Ooh, yeah, no. That's second, a lot of hairs.
Marmosets have claws, not nails, to like help them climb trees. So all of your fingers are ending in relatively pretty sharp and decently sized, actually, because your hands are pretty big at this. You know, they're. Oh, also one thing we did not say in the stipulations: the body parts are human scaled.
Oh, yeah. It's not a tiny arm.
It is not a tiny marmoset
That'd be
arm.
Pretty funny.
That would be hilarious, but very impractical. We were saying they are human scale. That's an important thing to point out. So the claws are pretty big in this situation. So that's kind of good, kind of bad. The one pretty bad thing is that marmosets actually don't have opposable thumbs. So on your right hand, which for me, I am right-handed, so my dominant hand, you do not have an opposable thumb. Which is going to complicate some things. So I figure those are kind of your three big issues that you're going to kind of deal with.
I mean, at least it's not both your arms. That'd be way worse.
That is, biggest silver lining, only one arm. You still have one human arm, which is a great situation to be in. For the fur, so I think you just wrap your arm in hairnets. I feel like you kind of just have a lot of hairnets around. With this condition,
can you wrap your arm? Can you wrap your arm with hairnets? They don't work that way.
Fishnet, like stockings or something.
Maybe, yeah. You do something. Actually, a stocking's a good idea. So just pull a stocking up your arm, and I guess also put on like a long sleeve shirt over it. I think you're decently protected at that point.
Yeah, it's a wintry holiday. Like, people aren't gonna like call you out for wearing a sweater.
Well, I mean, it's your friends and family coming over, I'm sure, so they know about your situation. You just don't want to get hair in the. You want to keep as much fur out of the food as possible.
Yeah.
If there's a little, they'll see it's a marmoset day and they'll understand. It'll be fine. For the claws, I don't know how much of a problem this actually is. Like, it's gonna make some things complicated to like, hold things, but like you can like peel potatoes, just like right there.
Could be useful.
Like you might, they climb trees with them. You might be able to like open a can with it. Like there's a lot of stuff you could probably do. Maybe don't do that one. Just use a can opener, but you could theoretically. It'd be kind of cool. Like there are some benefits there actually. It does mean
you could climb a tree, but you only have one arm that's
right.
That's
so
tree climbing.
It's not really ideal. The thumbs are kind of a problem, and I don't really think there's a solution for that aside from just you're using your left hand for a lot of stuff.
I mean, I'm thinking about using, like, I'm trying to imagine how this would be, and I don't see it being that difficult.
I mean,
just because I still have one thumb.
So the big thing is like picking up, like, think about when you're like putting the turkey in the oven and you don't have an opposable thumb on that.
Yeah, I guess you need to hold on to the handle, but you could like cup it from under.
Yeah, it adds a lot of risk. It's a lot of risk. And also just like, if you have to,
And it is your right arm, so are you right-handed?
Yes, exactly. So a lot of things I'm going to have to do left-handed, which is going to be tricky. Like, one thing that's trying to figure out is like if you have to use a can opener, like thinking about using a can opener, that kind of involves thumbs on both hands? I don't know. So there's a lot of stuff that's going to be tricky, but I don't think it's insurmountable.
People do it all the time on Cutthroat Kitchen.
That's true. There you go. But yeah, I think the fur is honestly the biggest problem, just because I'm just seeing like you're making mashed potatoes and it's just like all dropping down in there.
You could just like get a buzzer and buzz it all off beforehand.
No, you can't. Like,
Why not?
if there's anything furry like in your whole home, for example, maybe a cat, there's just always going to be at least a little bit of hair and everything.
Yeah. I guess you could try to shave it off. I did not consider that. That's going to be... Your arm is going to look really fucked up, man.
I mean, that's the last of your concerns. It's looks.
Yeah, I guess at that point you should wear like a long sleeve shirt for dinner, and people are going to ask you, hey, what was your animal part today? And you're going to be like, nothing, didn't happen. Don't worry about it.
And you just like are always busy carrying something, so you have like an oven mitt on your marmoset hand
right,
the entire time.
Your terrifying clawed hand.
Yeah, I mean, if you do it that way, you could actually like hide it from the extended family.
They must have heard. There's no way that's not like the hottest family gossip, though.
It might. Everyone knows, but it might not be like quote unquote open knowledge. Like the rest of your family definitely told the rest of your family, but they might not have told you that they told them.
Oh, that's true.
So
they're trying to
pretend
keep it.
They don't know.
I see. That makes sense.
So you're trying to hide it from them, but you don't need to.
Yeah, I mean, pretty typical Thanksgiving dinner family dynamics.
Oh, definitely. So yeah. So those are my two situations. Marcus, what did you do?
All right. I feel like mine may have been a little more difficult than that. The first one I got here is going to the gym, and my top half is a lobster.
Huh.
Your whole top half
is a lobster.
Not really a body part. That's just half your body.
That one's tricky.
So you have one immediate problem. Okay, I'm gonna say immediate problem. One very immediate problem.
Right. There's a lot of immediate problems here.
Lobsters have gills.
Ooh, yeah.
So I was like, well, you're just dead. And then I almost brushed it off. But then, I was like, let me check. Because you do see lobsters like out in like stores sometimes, and they're still kind of like moving around.
Yeah.
So it turns out lobsters can survive a couple days in the air. Their gills can extract the oxygen from the air as long as the gills stay moist.
Okay.
Also, you said top half. Where's the cutoff? Because you might
the
still
waist,
have lungs.
Obviously. No, the waist.
Yeah, it's definitely the
is
waist.
the cutoff.
Okay.
Man, you look weird.
Yeah, so if you can keep like some moist towels like around you or something, you can be okay, because if your gills dry out, then they collapse and you die. But that's something you're gonna try to avoid. It's gonna be kind of tough getting to the gym, because you might not be super like smart enough to get there.
You have a lobster brain now?
You have a lobster brain.
Well, actually, there's a debate whether lobsters even have brains. Like, it's actually up for debate. So some people classify it as a bunch of neurons, and some people call it like a tiny brain. It is closer to insect level intelligence than like animal level intelligence.
Got it. Okay.
To put it in numbers, a lobster has 100,000 neurons in their brain, quote unquote. And a human has 100 billion in their brain. So I think what's going to actually happen is if the brain is a problem, you're not going to be smart enough to make it out of whatever room you happen to be in at noon, and you're going to dry out, collapse, and die in, at your office desk or something.
Could a human-sized lobster claw open a door?
It could definitely crush a doorknob if that opens doors.
I don't know if that counts or not.
So, how strong is your grip going to be? Which is not unhelpful at the gym. Like, you're going to be able to grab stuff, so you can like do some exercises once you get there.
Mm-hmm.
So the grip strength for the average human hand is 300 newtons of force. So that's what you can squeeze. Compare that to, I use the coconut crab as the biggest lobster relative. Those things are fucking huge if you haven't seen those. They're like...
Yeah, they're terrifying.
The size of garbage pails. They're humongous.
Yeah.
They're called coconut crabs because they break open coconuts. And their crab claws can press with a force of 3,000 newtons, which is 10 times that of a human. And so that coconut crab weighs like 10 pounds. And as the crab gets bigger, the claw strength increases. Mm-hmm. So if you have a human-sized one, it's going to be real strong. You can just crush stuff.
So can you actually even like lift weights without just like snapping the bar in half?
I mean, how much
you can choose
control
not
do you
to
have?
use.
Yeah, you have control.
I don't
over
know. I didn't find out how much like conscious control crabs have over their claws.
I feel like they have control over it. You're not just gonna. You don't have like just on off claws.
Also, that's just gonna give you some fucking like respect at the gym if you just like sit down to like do like some free lifting and you just like snap them in half and you're like, oh no.
Not again.
People are going to give you some distance.
I mean, I feel like getting distance is not going to be a problem for the guy who is half lobster.
Yeah. So, Ben, here's another problem we have. You know how you talked about explaining your situation to people?
Mm-hmm. Oh.
A thing that lobsters don't have is vocal cords. So, you are going to turn into a lobster man. You're not going to know what's going on. You're going to be like suffocating, and you can't even, talk to anybody to try to get help.
Right.
Well, I would think that people that see you turn into a lobster, they know that you have lobster needs, and they'll be able to help you. They know what lobsters need.
Yeah, I guess, so you want to be around people at noon, I think, in general, with this symptom, so you could probably get some help.
Yeah.
So, I think the last part of the gym experience that's going to be pretty crappy for a lobster. So, basically, two things us guys like to do at the gym is get competitive and check out the girls at the gym. So, do you know what lobsters do when they are either getting ready to fight or see a mate?
I don't.
I do not.
They activate the urinary release nozzles underneath the eyes, so they shoot piss out of their face.
What?
Oh, no.
They pee out of their face.
So they pee out of their face.
Well,
There was literally an article. It was like, lobsters peed from their faces and ate other facts of your favorite crustacean. I'm like,
Okay.
well, this is going into my answer.
Yep. Has to.
So you're not gonna make many friends at the gym. You're probably not gonna have a good time there.
On the bright side, if you go to the steam room, it's going to be delicious.
And I think the real big problem on this cake at the gym is even if you manage to go to the gym and do a workout, you're not gonna get any of those sweet gains because lobsters don't feel pain, and no pain, no gain.
See, I was going to say, actually, on the contrary, although I like your wordplay, I appreciate it. I know lobsters, I believe, they can just sort of grow infinitely, right? Like, theoretically, they're just basically limited by, like, their environment.
Yep.
So, technically, you have infinite potential gains.
Infinite gains.
Infinite gains.
Well, until the next day at noon when you turn into something else.
Well, yeah, but just ignore that part.
Which, to segue, in my case, was a giraffe head. And the thing I have to do today is mail a letter.
Okay, just for my own, like, picturing this benefit. So, when you say giraffe head, how...
Of course, I took it from the neck up.
Okay, that was my question.
That
Thank
would
you.
defeat the purpose of the giraffe head.
Well, it would be kind of
Yeah.
hilarious if it was just a giraffe head on a human neck as well, but I think it's more entertaining overall with a giraffe neck, so thank you. Continue.
Yeah. So to scale, your neck is about 3 feet long.
Okay.
So the giraffe's neck is about the same length as their legs, and all my rough proportioning out, you have a pretty tall neck. Because of this, you're going to have your big problem is actually going to be blood flow.
Oh.
Interesting.
Oh, yeah.
So giraffes have adapted to have a humongous heart. Their heart is up to 2 feet long, and giraffes actually have double the blood pressure of basically every other mammal.
Because they gotta shoot blood all the way up that neck to their brain, so...
Exactly. So yeah, they actually have to do it to get up to that neck, and they, in addition, have special veins on the way down to slow the blood back down as it reaches the rest of the body.
That's pretty cool.
Actually, another cool note with this is that on the other side, the legs, where there's like a lot of blood pressure, the veins and arteries are actually very close to the center of the leg and away from the skin, which is like more than typical animals. Mm-hmm. So that if they get a leg cut, they don't just like bleed out immediately.
That makes sense. Yeah.
You as a person don't have really any of these adaptations to get blood to your head. So my thinking is, if you basically have to keep your head horizontal, or else you will not be able to pump the blood to it.
Right.
You will just pass out. So it's going to make your task a little bit complicated. Step 1, you're going to have to write the letter. If you are writing, say, a handwritten letter, you have, your piece of paper in front of you. And then you have your head, which is just straight out horizontal, which is a good 2 feet away from your table. So you cannot see what you're writing if you're doing a handwritten note. So I think my solution is you get a wireless keyboard. you scoot your seat all the way back so that you're like 3 feet away from your computer, but your head is inches from the screen as you type your letter.
You just move your screen up. That's a simpler solution.
Well, no, because you can't. So I think you have to basically be leaning forwards so your head is horizontal still.
Yeah, you can't put your screen high because if you put your head up, you're gonna pass out.
Ah.
And so you really just gotta stay horizontal because it's like, it's very far 3 feet for your blood to go. Even horizontal, it's like a very good distance to get to.
Yeah. Oh, man.
And now, I think my favorite problem this whole thing, you gotta lick the stamp.
Well, okay. Well, don't giraffes have very long tongues, hopefully?
Yeah, they do, I think.
So your tongue could be a foot long, but your neck is 3 feet long.
Oh, yeah.
And so you don't actually have, like, I don't think you have a hand-mouth overlap.
Yeah, now okay, so I'm literally sitting at my desk and holding my arm straight up and trying to, like... It might... No.
You could get one of those mechanical grabby toy things.
Oh, what? Yeah, okay, what if you grab some tongs?
Yeah, that's good. You get the dinosaur claw.
Yeah.
And you grab the stamp, and then you reach it out as far as you get it, lick it up a bunch, and then blindly attach it to the letter. Now you have your letter. It might be a little messy, might be a little damp.
Still technically a letter, though.
Yes, still technically a letter. And now you gotta take it to the post office. Driving, I think, will actually be okay. Your neck is very flexible, so I think you can just kind of be... Your head will be in the passenger side seat while you're driving in the driver's side seat. And you kind of just pretend you're like in a European car. So I'm not too worried about getting to the post office. But this thing isn't quite as subtle as, say, the crab eyes. So I think you can't just like walk into a post office with a giraffe head and not get like arrested or animal control called on you.
I don't know.
Why, are they gonna think you're an animal, or are they gonna... I mean, they can see that you're half human, or mostly human.
Well, I'm guessing...
Okay, if I saw a giraffe man walk into my bank, I'm gonna call the police.
All right, okay, I have a suggestion. You should use a drop box, because I also think that you can't talk, right?
So I could use a Dropbox, Ben, but that's no fun. What you need is a disguise.
Oh no.
Now, obviously, there are a whole host of disguises do not work with your big long neck. Basically, any of them. But the one I think works is you get a 2-person horse costume.
What's with you in 2-person horse costumes?
And you go in the back of the horse costume. And your head goes forward to the head and supports the rest of the costume. So there's nobody in the front. And then basically you talk to the teller with the front head of the horse. And then you're like, oh, my butt guy's got the money in the letter. And then you kind of awkwardly turn around and go backwards and hand them the letter that way.
Oh my god. It works, I guess.
So yeah. It's going to be awkward, but it's going to be, I think, the best you're going to do.
You got it done. That's all that matters.
Yeah, so, yeah, you can do it with a giraffe head. Chris, what are your situations?
Okay, so my first situation was octopus arms, and my task is give someone a massage. So I think my octopus arms actually enhance the massage.
Oh, yeah.
So one fun fact about octopus, just skin in general, is that they can, one, change the color of their skin, which doesn't really help me in my situation, but they can also change the texture of their skin.
Ooh.
So yeah, they can manipulate the muscles to change the texture. So that is like a really unique thing for a massage.
What texture would you pick?
I think you like rotate it, right?
Well, I think it's like whatever the client requests. I'll just offer this as a service to him, and he knows that I can change.
You could do like a what do they do with those stones? Like where they percolate? Is that what they call it? Where they like rub a rough stone against your skin to like, you know, smooth it out? You could do like a series of sandpaper like abrasions and get like a really smooth skin going.
Interesting.
I don't know if they would like that.
I think people would pay for it.
Yeah. And I wasn't sure exactly like how I interpret this, because octopuses or octopi, whatever, they have 8 arms and I only have 2, but would I get 4 and 4?
Yeah, I think that's the way it would work.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like both options are good, but that one's better. So
That's the better one? Okay.
Yeah.
I like that option. The one weird thing about this whole situation is that I found out that octopus... Okay, is it octopuses or octopi?
I believe it's octopi.
It's octopiece.
That is not accurate.
I'm going to say octopi from now on.
Seems safe. Go with that.
So the one thing I discovered with octopi is that they're the suction cups on their arms, or their tentacles, whatever, they actually can taste through it. So I'm going to be tasting my client the whole time. It's going to be
just
really weird.
I'm pretty sure you're fulfilling like 3 different fetishes at this point.
Chris, how do you make your life so miserable every time you do one of these?
I mean, it makes me miserable, but I would be a successful masseuse for this one day, so...
Fucking, just throw balls to the wall, everything for the win.
Yeah.
You do what you gotta do.
So, I mean, in general, I think this just enhances my... Because I assume giving massages is my job in this situation.
Right. Yeah. Certainly.
And this is just something I do, and then I got lucky this day. I'm an octopus arm man.
I like the idea that you are a masseuse who your selling point is that every day you have a random body part that may or may not enhance their massage.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not taking clients today. It's porcupine day.
Right, exactly.
I mean, someone must be into that.
Well, yeah, you gotta hope you book them that day. You have to, like, do an emergency call, like, fly them in.
No. Then that's the day you're an acupuncturist.
Yeah.
It's super simple.
Okay, so that's my first one. There really wasn't much to it.
The tasting is...
The tasting is problematic, but you will survive. You're professional.
Well, my second one was a shark head. And for this one, I actually want to, before I get to my task, I wanted to look at some, like, other daily stuff, because I think it would affect, like, my actual job in my office. So this happens at noon, so I usually eat lunch in the office. And the way that shark heads are, they're, like, the same orientation as their body. So I think my head would just be, like, facing straight upwards, right?
Yeah.
yeah, that makes sense.
I wouldn't have a neck, per se. So I wouldn't be able to see really anything. I'd be able to see the ceiling. That's about it. And in order to work, I'd have to, like, pull over a table or something and, like, lie down on the table to see my screen. Obviously, people would be terrified of me.
Right.
So, like,
Well, again, do your coworkers know about your animal condition?
Oh, yeah, they probably do.
They probably do because it happens at noon every day. So it would happen during lunchtime.
It's like, hey, look at Chris. He's a shark today.
Yeah, it's not like I can hide it because I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, that brings me to my task. Okay, so my task is to get a passport photo. As a shark. Shark head. So I gotta get to, like, CVS or Walgreens or something, whatever place gets passport photos. And I looked up the requirements for passport photos. Some of them are okay. I think I could deal with them. Some of them are like, it needs to be taken with normal clothing, like clothing you just wear on a daily basis. There needs to be, like, a white background or off-white background. You can't wear glasses. You can't wear a hat. You can't wear headphones or, like, wireless hand-free devices.
Well, I don't think sharks can wear any of those things anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Conveniently, that's not really a problem for you on any of those counts.
Yeah. So none of those are a problem. This next one is sort of a problem for the same reason that looking at my computer screen is that my head needs to face the camera directly and my full face needs to be in view. So I think I just need to do the same trick that I need to find a table. So the table is going to be in my picture. They don't say anything about lying down in the photo, so I think that's allowed.
Oh my god, I want to now take, like, a, like, sexy pose, like, passport photo, like, lounging.
Is it possible to take a sexy pose as a shark head man?
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay.
Ben, I like how both me and you were just immediately like, yeah, of course.
No question.
Obviously. And then the next requirement is also a big problem. It's that you must have a neutral face or natural smile, and their definition of a natural smile is no teeth showing. So I did a Google image search of sharks, especially great white sharks. I think those are, like, the most common ones. And I could not find one that their teeth weren't showing. Like, it was impossible.
I have a plan.
What's your plan?
You get a little hammer, and any tooth that's exposed, you knock it out. And you take the photo real quick before they regrow.
That's a lot of teeth.
That's a lot of
They have,
teeth.
like, a whole row of teeth on the outside.
Yeah, but sharks lose all their teeth, like, all the fucking... He's got, like, 4 rows of teeth. They pop out like fucking roof shingles that are not well maintained.
Yeah, I guess once I lose my shark head, I'll just have my normal teeth again. It's not like my teeth will be gone because I knocked them out as a shark.
Right.
Yeah, it'll be the day you find out about that particular rule, but maybe you get lucky.
Yeah, so I was really going to say that it was impossible to get this passport photo, but maybe your plan will work. I don't know.
You can also just Photoshop in a normal human smile onto you, and that won't look weird at all.
I don't think they would accept that.
Yeah, if you're facing up, could you like paint your face on your lower jaw?
Paint my face?
What if you just take a picture of yourself and glue it onto onto like your neck effectively.
The bottom of the shark, yeah.
Yeah. And then put a wig on your face.
Okay. Sure.
Yes.
I wear this. I wear a mask of my face every day. This is my normal clothes.
We solved it.
Yeah, they didn't say no masks of your face. They said no glasses, no hats.
Yeah, you have to cut the eyes out.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. I did have a very good image when you said you're at the office. I was hoping you'd have to like do a meeting or something because I realized a shark could actually be very good at presentations because you can face your audience while your eyes are looking at your own presentation behind you. And you can just like point
I can
at
just
shit.
read off of it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
And everyone's gonna be like, yeah, that shark's facing forward. That's obviously. Alrighty. And I think with that, we're gonna jump right into our ad break. Reptile lovers are a drastically underserved portion of our population. People just don't seem to appreciate the majesty of our scaly friends. But we do. Inspired by the popularity of cat cafes, we are proud to announce the opening of the Hissing Teapot, America's first snake cafe. Come in and drink a relaxing cup of tea with all the snakes you could want. Our free-roaming snake policy lets you get up close and snuggly with our slithering sidekicks. You may even get a little love nibble if you're lucky. Let's hear what our customers have been saying about the Hissing Teapot. Way more snakes than we were expecting. Not a night we'll forget anytime soon, says Jen. Our server was very helpful in teaching us how to tell which red, black, and yellow patterns indicated that snakes were poisonous, versus those which were simply imitating poisonous snakes. Red touches yellow, he's a mellow fellow, writes Andy. I freaked out a bit when I got bit the first time, but after a couple of minutes I'm feeling way more relaxed, says Timothy. I'm excited to see the new small businesses open up, but I am a little concerned about the mouse cafe next door, notes Annabelle. I can't get enough of these mother-loving snakes on these mother-loving plates, raves Sam. Take a slither on the wild side and join us at the Hissing Teapot today.
It's like apples and oranges. You can't compare them. Until now. Introducing Fruit Suits, the fun new way to eat your fruit. Our convenient kit comes packed with a variety of decorative materials to dress up your fruit however you want. Pluck the stem off that apple and color it orange with our FDA-tested edible markers. Or try our brand new red markers to disguise your oranges as apples. We currently only have 2 colors, but we're hard at work to bring you more. I guess when you think about it, Fruit Suits is really just a pack of 2 markers. Red and orange. But we swear, they're totally edible, pending FDA test results.
You've seen 2-in-1 shampoo and body wash, maybe even 3-in-1 shampoo, conditioner, and body wash. But what if that just isn't an efficient enough washing product for your busy lifestyle? Introducing the incredible all-in-one full body wash, no shower required. Just pop the lid off of the 55-gallon drum, lower yourself in, and wiggle around a bit to get things moving as our patented cleaning solution sterilizes your every nook and cranny. Then just hop out, towel off, and put that lid back on to keep it fresh until your next cleaning. The all-in-one full body wash. Just add you.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Pizza roll update. They are still here, and I feel even less like eating them.
You haven't eaten any of them?
I have eaten 0 of the pizza rolls, and I will tell you now, like, my discomfort level has somehow increased to 2.2, maybe, like 2.25.
That makes sense. It's dying on your body, what you've done to it.
Yeah, like, it's getting processed, and, like, first it was like maybe like localized junk in the stomach, and now like there's bad stuff going further, and the stuff that's still in the stomach is bad, and like what was processed into quote unquote nutrition for my body is probably just the wrong shape or molecule or something.
Right.
So yeah, these things are fucking evil. Speaking of evil, didn't even mean to do that. Our next question is Describe your perfect supervillain lair. Chris, as the most evilest of all of us, I think you should do the first one.
Okay. So originally when I was thinking about this question, I was thinking like I could make it in space or something, like on the moon, something like that. But going into space is difficult. I feel like I'm going to be at my lair a lot, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm going to have to go there a lot. So I don't want it to be somewhere in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, I also consider space and just figured the inconvenience was not worth the prestige, I guess, of being in space.
There's a lot of logistical issues with space, with like getting supplies and stuff, so.
And I also figured I didn't really want to start building this thing from scratch. I wanted some sort of existing infrastructure. So I looked at some abandoned places, like lists of abandoned places, and there's one that I found very interesting. Discovery Island in Disney World.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
So Discovery Island is 11.5 acres, and it was formerly Treasure Island, and they ended up closing it in 1999, and it's been abandoned ever since. But
is this like part of like the Florida one, or?
It's in Florida. So it's in Disney World in Florida, in Bay Lake, Florida. And you can actually still see it. You just can't go there because it's an island.
I remember going there, I think, when I was really young.
When it was open?
It was pretty great, yeah.
Yeah. So Disney says that they closed it because they replaced it with Animal Kingdom, because it was mainly like an animal place where you like look at animals and stuff. And now Animal Kingdom's like huge and just completely trumps that. So they said they closed it because of that. But there's a rumor that the real reason they closed it is because they found something in the water called Naegleria fowleri.
You want to give that one more go?
Naegleria flower glory.
That was better. We'll go with that.
Well, you don't know what it actually looks like in words, so. It's also known as brain-eating amoeba. So that's
not great.
That's easier to say, and it's also not great. But as a supervillain, it is great, because that is a very villainy thing.
This is true.
So I'm going to assume that that is actually in the water, and that will repel people from coming to my island. And obviously that's like a deadly bacteria. It can kill you within... Oh, you start seeing symptoms from like 1 to 9 days, and then it kills you within a couple of days.
I just feel like a hero is going to come, and he's going to be like, haha, I found you in your lair. It's like, you fool, you've already drinking the water. You'll be dead in... Well, symptoms will start to show in 8 days. The countdown has started.
Yes. It's all part of my plan. And a lot of the infrastructure from this park, they just left it there. So it's actually still there. They have like a water park. There's like a dinosaur section. Obviously, they don't have actually dinosaurs there, but like a dinosaur themed section.
Animatronic dinosaurs? Repurposable animatronic dinosaurs?
I don't think so. But maybe. I don't know. They have 2 aviaries. They have a monkey canopy. They have an alligator swamp and a flamingo lagoon. So all this stuff, all this stuff is like cool exotic animal stuff. And a lot of supervillains, their thing is that they like collect exotic animals. So that'll be my thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can fill the alligator swamp with alligators, and I'll have alligators to defend if the brain-eating bacteria doesn't work.
Or you'll have brainless alligators. One of those.
One of those too. Yeah, so when I decided I wanted to build on this Disney island, I was going to say that I was going to use like Disney as the disguise. So I'd want to like theme all of my stuff as Disney, but I wouldn't want to do exactly Disney because then Disney would like sue me.
Yeah, you don't want that.
Do you care though?
No,
you're
still
a supervillain.
I think you care more about Disney than like NATO.
Disney has some serious lawyers.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd do like all off-brand Disney stuff was my plan. And I was going to call it, instead of Disney World, I was going to call it Disney Globe.
Disney Globe.
Instead of Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, and Goofy, my mascots were going to be Mackie Rat, Donald Goose, and Foogie.
Ooh. What kind of animal is Foogie?
I guess Well, Goofy's a dog.
Goofy's a dog, so Foogie
But
is
it
a
has to be
god.
off-brand. No, it has to be off-brand. So, I don't know.
It's like kind of like
Cat. It could be a
Yeah.
cat.
could be a cat. And his dog, Neptune.
Yeah, his dog Neptune. That was my original plan to go off-brand Disney. But then I was like, why don't I just team up with Disney? Why don't I partner up with them? Because they're already like taking over the world anyway.
You're the one who put Walt Disney on ice.
Sure, that was all my doing. I don't really know what my villainous motives are, I guess. To put things on ice.
You're Mr. Freeze. Perfect.
Everyone will be cryogenically frozen once I'm done with them.
Yeah, so once I partner up with them, I was thinking like, so all my stuff would obviously be Disney themed. And when a new Disney movie comes out, I could do like a weird cross promotional thing with them where like I rob a bank, but I'm dressed as like their new villain from their new movie.
Ah, all publicity is good publicity. That's Disney's motto.
I mean, they own Marvel, so like I could dress up as Thanos and then like rob a jewelry store and be like, "Oh, I'm stealing the Infinity Stones."
Everyone would laugh, and then you'd actually run away with the stones.
And then they'd be like, "Ah, that's fun."
And then you blow up the bank and everyone dies. And then they're like, "Oh no, the horror!"
I don't need to blow it up. I just take the the jewelry, and they're like, "Oh, that was fun."
You're in too deep, Chris. Give me your Infinity Stone. They're like, wait, what?
You got to be convincing.
Don't make me snap my fingers.
They also
That's
have what?
I was gonna say that's the only thing I know. I didn't actually see that movie.
I didn't see the movie either yet, so don't spoil anything if you did.
It's quite good. I enjoyed it.
All I know is the memes.
The memes were also quite good.
They're also making like a live action Aladdin movie, so I could be like a live action Jafar, and I don't know what he is really into. What I could do with him.
You can go to Home Depot and steal all the lamps.
Yeah, I'll steal lamps. It's got to be on theme with the movie, so I can't just steal random stuff. But lamps are good. You can always use more lamps.
You need lighting for your lair, so
Yeah.
it's just economical.
And if you
Isn't Genie lamp totally not a lamp and actually just like a teapot?
No, it's like an oil burning lamp.
it was like a gravy boat.
Yeah, it's a gravy boat. How does it emit light?
I don't know why they call it a lamp.
No, it's a lamp. It's totally a lamp.
How does it do? Do you just put a candle in it?
No, it has oil in it, and you light it like the spout.
What's the point of the spout?
I guess to avoid just like directly lighting the oil. You're like lighting. Oh, actually, hold on. I need to look this up.
It's not like a
Segue.
wick in the spout.
I think you can like put one in. I don't fucking know, man. How do you? Okay, so I'm looking at an image of one. Huh. I can't tell if there's a wick or not.
Can you find one that's lit?
Yeah, they're definitely lit here. Like, I'm. This is very unhelpful to our listeners, but I'm putting an image in our Discord chat so everyone else who's.
So we will know and no one else will know.
Yeah. So like, it can totally be lit.
Oh, so that's the part.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's like the spout part is where the flame will be.
Where the fire... That's fucking buck wild. I'd never even like came close to imagining that.
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, that's a lamp. That's the Genie lamp. They always look like that.
I like it as a gravy boat. That's what I'd probably use it as if I stole it. So.
That's reasonable.
And if you have any question as to whether Disney will go along with this, they already put like all their like a bunch of subliminal messages in all their movies, like their kids' movies and stuff. So like in Lion King, they put the word sex in there, just like in the dust. There's like sex is written out.
Yeah, where like I think it's where the dust forms into like into Mufasa, and it's just like, oh, actually for a minute it says sex if you freeze it on this frame.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of willing to forgive that as less evil intentions and more
Bored animators.
bored animators who've been drawing the same panels for like years.
Yeah.
Now the animator said that it was supposed to be SFX for like special effects. So that's what they said. But I think the real reason is that they're craving evil.
Yeah, they're trying to cover their asses.
Well, it's a long-term plan because you want the viewers of your movies to reproduce more so you have more future users for your movies.
There you go.
It's a very conniving plan.
Mm-hmm.
The exact conniving plan that I would want to partner with. So, yeah, I didn't really go into like what my lair would be. I guess it would just be all Disney themed, but it'd be on that island and I would be with Disney.
And creepy.
Why would I be creepy?
Because Disney is creepy in anything. Well, yeah, Disney's just kind of creepy.
I mean,
I'm not going to qualify that.
It's a Disney abandoned island. That's pretty much just like as creepy as it gets.
I mean, I think it's the happiest place in the world.
It's the happiest place in Dosney world.
In Dosney Globe.
Dosney Globe,
Happiest
excuse me.
place in Dosney Globe. Okay, Ben, can you describe your Dosney Globe?
Ben, what's
Yes,
your lair?
my own personal Dosney Globe. So I sort of was thinking about what you need to really like look for in your villain lair. And I'm going to go ahead and preface this. I went a little more like Bond villainy on mine, just because that's kind of where my mind was. So whatever you're doing, whatever your villainous plots are, you're going to have some heat. People are going to be looking for you because you're going to be, doing bad stuff. So I think being relatively hidden is obviously a very important thing. And preferably, I realized mobility is actually very nice because that way, like, you don't have a fixed location where they figure it out, you're just kind of hosed, and just like tear down your base and move somewhere else. So being able to move is actually really nice. And sort of along with that, I realized that I think probably the trickiest thing about like a villain base is just like keeping yourself supplied, because you can't just like order stuff, because then you're just gonna have like FedEx is gonna know where you are, right?
Can't
like
just order from Amazon.
Yeah, like that's not really a sustainable villainous plan.
Yeah. Alexa, order me more paper towels. The police are on their way.
That's not what I asked for, Alexa. God damn it.
Delivering, please.
Every time.
Please confirm order of police.
So I realized that stealth and mobility, because if you are mobile, then what you can do is just go to where the shit you need is and pick it up and then go somewhere else. So stealth and mobility are both very nice. So I went submarine. Specifically, my starting point was the Imperial Japanese Navy I-400 class submarine, which was not only a submarine, it was also an aircraft carrier.
Ooh.
So basically, it had a like cylindrical watertight hangar that stored 3 torpedo bombers on the deck of the sub. And the bombers had like collapsible wings that could actually get like folded in there, and they got launched by catapults and landed on pontoons. And then the submarine had a collapsible crane to pull them back in. So this is awesome because 1, you have planes for like scouting or whatever, and 2, in this like resupply situation, you can just like crane shit up onto your sub. It's perfect. Super great. So other cool things about it. It carried a crew of 144. So you have room for henchmen. Lots of room for henchmen.
That's a good amount of henchmen.
It carried enough fuel to circumnavigate the globe 1.5 times, apparently, which is pretty impressive. It's not super fast. It only went about 19 knots when surfaced, which is slower than like a modern cargo ship, which is like 24 knots. So the speed leaves a little to be desired.
So not good on the run.
Also, when it's submerged...
Well, very good on the run because of the submarine.
Well, the problem is, when it's submerged, it only goes like 6.5 knots. But I think you're kind of just like diving to get away from view and then coming back up. Most of the time, you're going to be on the surface, And it's obviously also, there's like torpedo tubes and AA guns, so you have like defenses. There are definitely some cons to the plan, this submarine. One, it's a submarine, it's going to be a little cramped. But I think, you can just like stop off at islands and stuff and let your crew get out and stretch their legs and do all that. They'll be fine. They'll survive. A little more iffy. Apparently, and this is a thing that apparently was a big issue. So this sub was from World War II. And apparently, basically all of the submarines that Japan used in World War II didn't have any kind of refrigeration system on board, whether that be like air conditioning or just like for food.
You can hook up a mini fridge or something, Ben.
You can definitely...
You have the technology.
You can install something. So that's out of the box. It's not great, but you can we'll get some upgrades in a minute.
It'll be a fixer-upper.
Yeah, there's a bit of fixer-upper. So it's a little unwieldy because the rudders are kind of small. And then, so the superstructure was pretty big. And it was so big, in fact, that apparently in heavy winds it sometimes veered off course. So that's not ideal.
So you have like a pretty okay built submarine.
Also,
not really selling this on this.
so because of this, another thing with the superstructure, because of they basically had to have room for like the catapult to launch the planes. So the superstructure is offset, which means that when it was submerged, you actually had to steer it about 7 degrees starboard to keep it going straight forwards.
Quiz time. Is starboard left or right?
Starboard is right, because port has 4 letters, much like the word left.
And starboard has 9 letters, much like the word right.
Yes, exactly. I always want to say starboard has an R in it, but that does not work. But I'm pretty sure the port 4 letters left thing does, so just go with that one.
You only need to remember one of them.
Exactly. So yeah, so there are definitely some downsides, but like you were saying, it's a fixer-upper. So I think the first big thing that I think will really help you out here in terms of your speed and everything is going nuclear. So there is a British Royal Navy nuclear sub, the Astute class, first launched in 2007. It's about the same size, that has a nuclear reactor that doesn't need... Basically, it can run for 25 years without, like, having to be serviced. So that gets you a lot of runway for, you know, giving you some time to figure out your plan on that, which is good. And that way, that one can go about 30 knots surfaced or underwater. So obviously you won't go quite that fast underwater because of the superstructure situation, but it'll at least get you above that 6.5 and let you stay underwater a lot longer. I figure you'll also obviously do some like living space adjustments just to get, you know, a little more leg room in there and everything. But I think that's sort of a good like starting point, and you can sort of, you know, move some sort of like, you know, pimp your ride kind of stuff from there.
It's like starting to sound like a TLC like episode where it's like, you're going to want to do this, X, Y, and Z. And when you're done, you know, just make it your own. Feel free to make it.
It's very much that. But then what's great is that you have so many options once you're all decked out. Because obviously you can do just good old fashioned like piracy if you want to, because you're in a goddamn submarine. So you got that in front of you. You can do like raids with your planes, which is great. You have lots of options for like sneaking in and like stealthily like paradropping someone in from the plane and then like getting them back out. I don't know. It gives you a lot of very cool possibilities that I don't think you get with a stationary base.
How are you gonna... So one of your selling points is that this is mobile so you can get supplies. How are you gonna get supplies with this?
So what I figure is you either steal them from like ships that are shipping things.
Okay.
Or what you can do is basically set up a dummy thing where you get them like shipped to like some dock somewhere and then just like roll up and pull them on board with the crane and then roll out.
It's gonna be like the shittiest game of Storage Wars where like you like capture like an international vessel and you're like, all right boys, let's open her up and see what we got. And you open it up, it's like, God damn it, another fucking 100 t-shirts.
This one's cars again, not that helpful on a boat.
It's all cars.
It's always cars. Why is it always cars? So I will admit there are some flaws in the plan, but I feel like your biggest priority is going to be avoiding the inevitable hunters of you, and I feel like this gives you a very good chance in that regard.
Yeah, and I would agree with you, Ben, because I kind of ended up in a very similar way, and I think I came at it slightly differently. So my first 3 priorities were well hidden, well defended, and big. So, well, because I don't want to have a shitty little lair. Like, you want to have, like, I don't want to have a fucking bat cave where it's like, oh, this is really cool, but it's just like me and this weird boy and a butler.
This was not a concern for me, clearly.
Yeah. So I ended up I started with a floating fortress on the ocean, which I also liked was that one, the open ocean is actually still quite well hidden. Like, if you're like moving, like even like with currents, I don't think you're gonna get found by like even satellites and stuff aren't gonna see you. Like, the ocean's fucking huge.
The ocean's a big place.
Even if your base is really big, you're not big compared to the ocean, because as we revisit in the show a lot, the ocean's really, really big.
Right.
They'll see you in like satellites though, right?
Well, it's like if you're looking and you get lucky and happen to look at that exact spot of the ocean. I
mean, if you just make the top of your base blue, I think you're pretty good most of the time.
Yeah, all your roofs have to be blue.
Yeah, and blue's going to be pretty much the color of my thing, because I wanted to go, like, classic supervillain. So my secret floating base is going to be shark-shaped. So it's going to be a giant shark.
Awesome.
And the shark actually has a lot of good things going for it shape-wise. First off, the mouth is perfect for, like, a port and dock for boats and, like, seaplanes, etc., etc. The fins are going to be where you land your jets and your planes and all your actual, like, real aircraft. The tail is the perfect shape to put a missile silo and launch missiles out at like 30 degrees, because it's going to be a pretty good chute that you can just build into there. And the dorsal fin, that's going to be your central evil tower going up. So what are we looking at with since I'm talking about the dorsal fin tower, my throne room, my villain chamber is what's it going to look like. Really what got stuck in my head was basically the one from Austin Powers with where he has the submarine that's Dr. Evil.
Oh, yeah.
And he's got the big room. There's a shark pit in the middle, like a shark tank in the middle.
With laser beams attached to their heads.
With laser beams attached to their heads. So I decided to forego the laser beams. I think what it's going to be almost the same room. It's going to be a room all the way to the tippity top. Because where else are you going to be? It's going to be pretty cool because the whole ceiling is going to be like a curved glass piece because that's like the top of the fin. And the back part that's vertical, I'm going to have be a waterfall.
Ooh. It's going to be luxurious.
So you walk in from the elevator or whatever, and there's just like this shark pit, and behind that, like my like evil throne, and behind me just like a massive waterfall. And so what happens when I got, the hero of the day coming in? So he's going to come, and of course he's going to be like, oh, I'm just going to stay away from the shark pit. But the shark pit is just a decoy. So my plan to get rid of intruders is I'm going to want the floor of the place to tilt away from the throne. And when it does that, the back of the floor is going to hit the waterfall. And then the waterfall is going to flow on the floor across the room. And the windows on the other side are going to open up. It's going to flush anybody out of that room.
Sneaky waterfall.
And then where I ended up a little bit like Ben, I decided the prominent feature of my throne was going to be a big control panel where in emergencies, I'm going to have 3 big red buttons. And the first one's going to say dive with 1 exclamation point. And that's going to be dive with 2 exclamation points. And the third one's going to say dive with 3 exclamation points. And so I imagine that, like, there'll be that moment where I'm like, dive! And then, like, my other hand hits the second dive. And then the camera pans to the third dive. And an unexplained third hand hits the third dive. And then it pans, and then my base descends into the ocean. The other thing, too, is that I'm a supervillain. I got this all slow motion base. What am I doing? What's my goal? Like, why am I here? And I think, and it kind of goes with the theme of our show, was there's a lot of cool animals in the ocean, and I think I'm going to have this marine biology lab where I'm going to be making super soldiers out of all the different animal powers that we've come across. So you're going to start off, and this is going to be the one that you inject with yourself, too, because you want to get that immortal jellyfish and its complete regeneration powers going.
It's your favorite animal.
It really is, because it's just buck wild to me that this thing exists. So just a quick recap, it's a jellyfish that when it is either injured or would starve to death, reverts back into like an earlier form and like goes back to stem cells and then just kind of regrows. So it never actually dies.
So it just like gets younger.
Yeah, it has regenerating cells basically.
Yeah.
So you do that to your minions, they're going to be pretty invincible. Like to most mundane means of killing them for good. Get the mantis shrimp, the best punching shrimp that, can create fucking vacuum implosions underneath the water by punching so fast.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta have a shark head. Like,
you know how that turned out for me.
It's good for biting. And I think the anti-cancer properties are going to help prevent all these extra mutations you're putting in from going like buck wild. Because I imagine this mechanisms that stop cells from multiplying out of control is also going to stop like your mantis shrimp cells from getting into your jellyfish cells and into your peanut butter cells and then making a whole mess of a sandwich.
Right.
And then just to top off the, just to get the super minion going, shark head, mantis shrimp punching, obviously just overall immortal jellyfish body. Electric eel, just electric them up. Octopus, get him the smart octopus brain. And camouflage.
Yeah, both of my answer 1 things are in there.
I know. I was very happy to hear them. And then I think one small point that you're going to concede, I'm not sure how much sea creature you are. If you have to use the lungfish to give them lungs, you can do that. I'm not sure at what point you're more fish than human.
Right.
But try to hold on to the human lungs. But if you can't, you can throw a lungfish in there. And that's the one you kind of just like put in like the back closet at like the back of the tail that you don't really tell anybody about. Like when you're doing your grand display of your dark powers, it's just like, don't look and just don't go in the supply closet. It's just lungfish in there just lungfish all the way down. And so you now basically have a super powered henchman villainry, and I think you're just gonna be the best pirate because you can just now go to any shore, anyone you want, because you can travel. So go to an unsuspecting shore, take over the coast, and the plan is 1, set up, get your genetic mutations going. Step 2, take the sea hostage. Step 3, take over the world.
What's the process from step 2 to step 3?
I don't understand your question, Chris. Once you have the sea hostage, you can just take over the world.
Okay.
Like that's about as detailed as a supervillain plans get. And that was my living on the wild side.
So if you were in an existing piece of fiction right now, you'd probably be an Aquaman, and Aquaman would probably kill you.
I think I would just be the next Austin Powers movie that was too lazy to come up with another plot. I actually had a moment when I was very scared that I accidentally recreated the villain lair from that movie. It's when I think I'm imagining all these cool things, like I was just actually remembering the movie. Because I remember the shark pit, and that was like kind of like my inspiration for like the theme of it. And then I was very scared for a minute that it was actually just a giant shark and that his plan might have been the same. But his plan was like a moon laser and his ship was a version of himself. So
you're good.
That's why his plan didn't work.
You're in the clear.
And why mine will. So I think we'd be 3 successful supervillains. Me and Ben might have to duke it out.
Right, yeah.
Oh, and then I could team up with you.
Yeah, you just pick whoever's left, yeah.
Yeah.
Although I think whoever wins between me and Ben will probably be able to take on the Disneyland characters.
Will we be able to take over Disney, though?
Depends. How much of Disney headquarters is very far inland? That I have that in my cons column of problematic things.
I have short-range planes. As long as they're relatively close to the coast, I'm fine.
Yeah, both of you are in the water. I just have all the land.
That's true.
Well, you're on an island. You have a little bit of land.
I'm on an island that is very close to everything else in land. It's just in Disney World.
I'll tell you what.
Very easy to get to land.
I'll tell you what's closer to the mainland than that island. Some water. Some amount of water is between your island and the mainland. So you're the furthest away. Well, anyhow, before we break down into arguing which one of us would be the best supervillain, I'm just gonna say the questions for next week are: what if you could control the weather? And what if all buildings were made of Legos? If you have any questions, comments, or your own hypothetical idea you want us to answer, let us know. You can reach us by email at absurdhypotheticals@gmail.com. Send us a tweet at absurdhype. That's HYPE hype. Visit our website, www.nerdchomp.com/absurdhypotheticals. And if you enjoyed the show, don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review on iTunes. It really helps out the show and lets us keep making it for you.